What up, YouTube? T Movies here with Joker in there now. Since Joker is one of the coolest villains around, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite movie villains of all time. Because there's some really awesome villains around there, whether it's comic book villains, or action villains, or comedic villains, or fantasy villains. I mean, there's some really cool villains. So, with that being said, here's my top 10 favorite movie villains of all time. Alright. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Dr. Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs. I mean, yeah, Hannibal Lecter is one of the most creepiest roles there, like one of the most creepiest characters there is. I mean, the character was also based on that serial killer Ed Gein, who, by the way, Ed Gein is one of the most sickest killers there is. I mean, I'm not going into details of how he's the sickest because it's literally he's one of the most sickest guys. But anyway, and I mean, granted, in the whole film, Dr. Hannibal Lecter was mainly in like a confinement and all, but just like his dialogues in Silence of the Lamb is just insane. I mean, he is literally creepy. You know, you got Jodie Foster as the FBI trainee, who's pretty much like you know interviewing the guy. I mean, yeah, Hannibal Lecter holds no bars, and Buffalo Bill is probably even worse. But I decided to just pick Hannibal Lecter instead and Anthony Hopkins playing Hannibal Lecter, cool casting there. I mean, he won his Oscar for playing the role, and that's nice. Silence of the Lambs is a great film. I mean, if you guys never seen it, it's a really good one. All right. Coming in at number 9 is pretty much a comedic villain, but it's probably one of my favorite comedic villains, and that is Dr. Evil, played wonderfully by Mike Myers. I mean, Dr. Evil is just one of the most. He is one of the most funniest film villains there is. You know, because um, since Austin Powers is like a spoof of the Bond franchise, Dr. Evil is pretty much a parody of the classic James Bond villain, Ernest Starvo Blofeld. And Dr. Evil had a really funny backstory there. And also he, of course, has a son. He also has a clone of himself, who is Mini-Me, played wonderfully by the late, great Vernon Troyer. I like his antagonist stuff against Austin Powers and all. And Mike Myers, of course, plays both Dr. Evil and Austin Powers. I mean, he does a great job at playing different characters. And, I mean, Dr. Evil has some of those really funniest lines. Whether it's $1 million. I cannot do a great Dr. Evil impression, but, yeah. And it was pretty cool seeing Dr. Evil make, like, a comeback on SNL not so long ago. And he also made, like, a appearance on the Jimmy Fallon show. I mean, Mike Myers is really dedicated to that character, and I'm still hoping we got 4 Austin Powers, but I'm not holding my breath about that one. But that being said, Doctor Evil is just outrageously hilarious. I mean, and he does some really villainous and dumbest stuff, whether it's being like pretty much being mean to his kid Scott Evil, played wonderfully by Seth Green. Of course, his dad is Nigel Powers, and it turned out that Dr. Evil ended up, his brother is Austin Powers. So, spoiler alert, but the movies has been out for like years. So, anyway, yeah, Dr. Evil is definitely my favorite villain. I mean, you know, one of these days I'll probably do my 10 favorite comedic villains, and Dr. Evil will definitely be in that list because he's just such an iconic villain right there. All right, coming in at number 8 is going to be Lord Voldemort in the Harry Potter franchise. Now, sort of like Darth Vader. Before he became Lord Voldemort, he was really Tom Riddle, and then it showed and then throughout the whole film franchise, it showed how he became Lord Voldemort. And Voldemort is probably one of the best of Harry Potter villains there is. I mean, there have been some really great Harry Potter villains around, but I think Voldemort is the best one. I mean, sort of like how the MCU sort of build up to Thanos, the Harry Potter franchise sort of build up to Voldemort, and we got like he may of course appears in like a few of the Harry Potter films, but then he became like pretty much the biggest baddie in the last two installments, and yeah, he's a real like he's of course played wonderfully by Ray Fiennes. He's of course the character whose name should not be said. He really has no nose. I mean, that is one creepy character. A character who doesn't have a nose. I mean, yeah. But yeah, Lord Voldemort is definitely my eighth favorite villain there is. All right, coming in at number 7 is probably my favorite horror villain, and that is Jason Voorhees. Now, I could have added any horror villains in this list. I could have added Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Chucky, anyone, but I'm actually choosing Jason, the famed hockey mask wearing serial killer. Is one of the most iconic horror villains there is. He pretty much kills people a lot. I mean, yeah, he has lots of bloodsheds in these films, and he's been portrayed a lot of time. Like, there's been loads of different actors who have portrayed him over the years, whether it's Ari Lehman or Derek Mears or Kane Hodder. I mean, actors have played Jason really well, and Jason is pretty much the coolest villain there is, and the Friday the 13th franchise are just awesome. So, yeah. Anyway, I of course actually did my 10 favorite horror movie villains last year, and Jason was in that list, so I might redo that. Though. All right, coming in at number 6 is pretty much my favorite animated film villain, and that is going to Scar from The Lion King. Now, he is voiced wonderfully by the always great Jeremy Irons. I mean, Scar, he is one of the most best animated villains there is. Like, probably my favorite Disney villain. He ended up killing his own brother. He ended up ruling the kingdom. I mean, it's a very Shakespearean tragedy. And now, granted, I'm going with the original Lion King. Now, I am the recent Scar, voiced wonderfully by Chiwetel Ejiofor. That Scar was cool, but I still prefer the Jeremy Irons Scar because come on, that character, that villain is just Jeremy Irons just voiced Scar perfectly, and what else can you ask for, All right, coming in at number 5 is going to be Thanos in Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. Now, the MCU had ended up building on Thanos for since pretty much since 2012 and all. And Thanos is, I could have added any MCU villains. I could have added just Loki. I could have added a Killmonger, any, but I'm choosing the biggest of them all, Thanos. Played perfectly, by the way, by Josh Brolin. I mean, Josh Brolin really played the role of Thanos well, and he of course is the man on Titan. He ended up pretty much destroying like the human race and snapping his fingers and making lots of people dust and all. Then he ended up spoiler. Tony Stark actually ended up sacrificing himself so he could kill Thanos and all. So there's that. I mean, yeah, Thanos is definitely the best film Marvel film villain there is. He's just really menacing. He's like one of the most powerful MCU villains there is. And I'm really curious to see who's going to take the cake since Thanos is no longer around anymore, I'm really curious to see who's the next bad villain is going to be. Whether it's Magneto or maybe Doctor Doom or whatever. So it should be interesting to see where the MCU is going to go after Thanos. But anyway. Alright. Coming in at number 4 is probably the best action villain there is, and that is Hans Gruber played by the late great Alan Rickman in Die Hard. I mean, Hans Gruber is really the coolest of there is. You know, he is a main terrorist in this movie. He is like the antagonist to Bruce Willis and John McClane, and he is definitely the best action villain around. And believe it or not, this was actually Alan Rickman's first ever feature. Well, think it was like his first American feature, I guess. But that aside, I mean, he is like a very he is a Russian terrorist, and Alan Rickman played that role just magnificent. You know, he was so menacing as Hans Gruber. Then, of course, in two more sequels, we ended up having his brother played by Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons is great in Die Hard Avengers, but now the Die Hard films has had great, had interesting villains, but I think Alan Rickman takes them all, and he's just such an awesome villain here. All right, my number 3 favorite is going to be the Joker in The Dark Knight. Now, there's been so many great portrayals of the Joker, whether you talk about Jack Nicholson's portrayal or Mark Hamill's portrayal, or just recent Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal. But the best Joker is still Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. I mean, Heath Ledger, he ended up winning his Oscar for playing the Joker, and well done win too. He was so darn great as the Joker. He was so menacing. He was very creepy. Like his interaction with Christian Bale's Bruce Batman character was really great, and he was just an awesome villain. Now, the Dark Knight trilogy has some pretty cool villains. Whether you talk about Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow performance or Tom Hardy's Bane performance, but none of them are as good as Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker. And yeah, it's a shame that Heath Ledger passed away because I would love to have seen him maybe back as Joker again, but sadly that never happened. But a Joaquin Phoenix portrayal of the Joker is still pretty good. So anyway, coming in at number 2 is going to be Darth Vader in the Star Wars films. Now, the guy in the costume was played by actor David Prowse, and you had James Earl Jones providing the voice. So you had really 2 actors playing the role of Darth Vader, and Darth Vader is, I mean, he is of course, you know, the Lord Emperor. He's like the Lord Thanos of the franchise, and he of course ends up becoming in Empire Strikes Back. We find out that he is Luke Skywalker's father. You guys remember, Luke, I am your father. I mean, he is such a great villain there, and it was pretty cool seeing Vader back again in I don't know which it was. Yeah, I think it was Rogue One when we saw Darth Vader back again. That was really cool too. And hopefully, like down the line, whether it's another Star Wars movie or probably a Star Wars show, I'm hoping we get to see Darth Vader again because Darth Vader is just such a really cool character. I mean, he has like a cool wardrobe. He has like the coolest mask you ever want to see, and he is like every geek fan that will tell you that he is the best villain there is. I mean, you know, my number 1 I slightly like a little more than Darth Vader, but Darth Vader is still a great villain, and yeah, yeah, definitely the best Star Wars villain. So yeah. Anyway, now what villain is better than Darth Vader, Hans Gruber, Thanos? The best film villain of all time, in my opinion, goes to the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. I mean, you know, most people probably say Darth Vader is their favorite or Hans Gruber and all, but I think the best villain is pretty much a Wicked Witch, and that is played wonderfully by Margaret Hamilton. I mean, she is literally one of the most creepiest roles like in film history, and Margaret Hamilton she played the creepiness well, and lots of kids were actually really creeped out by the character. So I'm not even joking. One time on I think it was Mr. Rogers. You could probably find it on YouTube actually. Margaret Hamilton actually came on the Mr. Rogers show and was pretty much showcasing that she's not really a witch and stuff like that. That she was just acting, and she ended up putting the clothes on. I thought that was a cool moment right there. And I mean, she, what the witch wants to do is get back her really wants to get back her ruby slippers, and she also ends up wanting to kill Dorothy too, and wants to get her little dog too. So yeah, and she of course has flying monkeys. She lives in like a witch's castle. We first see the Wicked Witch during Munchkin Land when she has lots of smokes flying around, and that's it. Like her her first introduction was pretty cool, and not to mention Wizard of Oz is arguably my favorite movie of all time. So doesn't hurt that The Witch is in one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, yeah, The Wicked Witch of the West is such a great one, and to me, she is the best villain there is. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Let's see. 10. Hannibal Lecter and Silence of the Lambs. 9. Dr. Evil and Austin Powers. 8. Voldemort and Harry Potter. 7. Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th. 6. Scar and The Lion King. 5. Thanos in Avengers Infinity War / Endgame. 4. Hans Gruber in Die Hard. 3. The Joker in The Dark Knight. 2. Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back. And 1. The Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. Now, there's also other ones I probably could have added. The Green Goblin from Spider-Man's a good one. Norman Bates from Psycho. Agent Smith from The Matrix. What's some other good ones? I could have added some great other horror villains like Michael Myers, Freddy. I could probably added Killmonger in this list. Jack Torrance from The Shining. Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. I mean, I could have actually just done top 20 instead of top 10, but I really decided to just make this a top 10 list. So anyway, let me leave it to you guys. Who are some of your favorite movie villains of all time? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is your C-Movie signing off.